Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. Apologies for being a few minutes late. I was just getting everything ready for a fun-packed show today. So let's kick off with one of the main games of Matchweek 2. So that is Liverpool versus Burnley. So let's kick on and talk about the first goal. It's a fantastic cross by Tsimikas, who's been a revelation. For me, I kind of expected him to play at this level, as I watched him a few times for Olympiacos before he joined Liverpool. So I knew there was a player there, but obviously last season he was quite unlucky, contracting COVID and numerous injuries throughout the season. But he's really showing his true form this season so far. Produced a fantastic cross for Jota, who produced a guided header into the bottom corner, which makes it 2 goals in 2 games for Jota, home and away. So fantastic start for him for the new season. Jota, for me, I didn't know he had that sort of ability in him where he would score so many headers. It's a great trait to have, as he's probably not expected to make the sort of high aerial challenges, but nevertheless, he's been leading the line really well and fully deserves to cement his place in the front three at this stage. On to the next stage of the game. Salah actually scored, which was ruled offside, unfortunately. But I think for me, the nice part was actually seeing Harvey Elliott play a lovely through ball for that little moment there. It was the correct decision, if I'm honest with you. But Harvey Elliott, for me, really stood out. Surprised that he actually started the game against such a physical opposition. Not something I would have expected Klopp to throw in a player first time making his debut in the Premier League. So, yeah, really impressive with performance. I think because he was drifting a lot more on the right-hand side, even though he was playing a central role, it did confuse the midfielder of Burnley, but also the left-back and the centre-back will find it tricky to sort of track the runs of Harvey Elliott, Salah, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think that was a great tactical play from Jurgen Klopp there. Just got a comment here from Stu Mack. Stu Mack as a player, great whip on the delivery, not brainless, powered crosses, skilled and measured technique, 100%. You can see that every ball that he produces into the box is measured. There's a purpose for it. It's not just whipping in any sort of crosses whatsoever, which we've, as Liverpool fans, we've had left backs in the past that have been guilty of playing in that way. But for me, it's so good to have a backup player that, if Robertson isn't available, which is the current stage at the moment, we've got someone who can deputise and literally fill in, and we wouldn't really feel like we're missing Robertson as much. So for me, it's great to have a player like that in the squad. If I was FSG, I'd probably get a similar ilk of a player for our right-hand side, because what Trent Alexander-Arnold offers to Liverpool, no offense to Nico Williams, I feel like he's a young player who does have the potential, but we need someone who's kind of ready-made at this stage, as we've got a long season ahead. So another comment from Stu Mack. Do you think Harvey Elliott game time is Klopp trolling Pep since he spent 100 million on another Weasley talent, Grealish, Pound and Griezmann? That's hilarious. No, I just think Klopp has probably been so impressed with Harvey Elliott's development. Obviously, they were probably tracking his form last season with Blackburn Rovers, but obviously seeing it firsthand in training. And I feel like you can see it in his sort of hunger as well. I watched a video yesterday. It's a new series on BT Sports called Reunited. So Harvey Elliott actually was reunited with one of his youth coaches. And just the way he was speaking as well about, at first when he first joined Liverpool, he was starstruck when he was amongst, the superstars that we have in our squad. But now he sees it where he's equal to them in regards that everyone is his competition. So that's a great mentality to have for such a young player as well. I feel like he will go far, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he gets a lot of games, a lot of minutes this season, which, with the departure of Shaqiri, I think he basically takes his place in the squad, and hopefully we'll get more minutes, as Shaqiri, as good of a player he wasn't available as much. Harvey Elliott has shown his versatility, so it's great to see, especially as there's no transfer activity going on. So at this stage, we're depending on our current players right now. And, he's a great option to have, nevertheless. Fair enough. He does seem to have matured. I think he has. I think that loan move last season really helped. I don't think it was planned last year. I think they still wanted to embed him into the first team squad, but having the opportunity to play championship football, I think was a great move for him. It helped him probably mature as a person, but in terms of his play as well, being a bit more accommodated, sort of climatized to physical challenges and stuff. So I definitely think that move really helped his development there. Another comment from Stu Mack here. Elliott seems to be far more balanced than Jones, who often tries far too much for me. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think Jones, for me, showed some great glimpses last season. But there were times where I feel like he was doing maybe one or two step overs where at that stage wasn't necessary, and to play a bit more simple was the right option. But every young player is different. I think Elliott, because he got that long move, he probably learned that the hard way, where in the championship, you're not really given much space and the wingers are sort of stamped upon straight away. So I think it's good to have both of these youngsters in the squad. They all learn from each other, but at the same time, learn from the great world-class talent that we have in the squad. So, I know we're not having a lot of transfers regarding Liverpool, but it's still, we've got a lot of positives to look at within our own squad. But back to the game itself. So Mane was actually quite close to scoring as well. Very unlucky in the first half. Volleyed it just over the bar. Burnley actually didn't play that bad in the first half. Didn't really trouble Alisson. They had a few shots on target, but nothing to really, scare, shock the Liverpool fans or any shape or form. But second half, I think Liverpool definitely had better possession and had more control of the game. Just got another comment here from Stu Mack. But Klopp is a master of gaining massive fees for overhyped British players. So Jones could follow the likes of Ibe, Solanke, Brewster, Wilson, etc. I've got a bit more faith in Jones, to be fair. I think he does have a long-term future at the club. I do get your point that if that was the case where he hasn't fulfilled his potential, we could probably sell him on for that fee. That comes down to Michael Edwards, who's just a genius when it comes to negotiating. But I still have faith in Jones. I feel like there's plenty of time for him. I think this season he will get a lot of games. Unfortunately, a lot of our midfielders are injury prone, so he'll get his time. I think Klopp was probably just impressed with terms of how Elliott has sort of settled in terms of the squad. So thought this was probably the right time to play him. And I think tactically it actually made sense to have a player on the right-hand side to hog that byline alongside Salah, which probably allows Salah to drift in a bit more and allowed Trent Alexander to bomb forward to whip in some crosses. So I think it was a tactical move, nevertheless. And another comment from Stu Matt. That for me is Klopp's true brilliance. He makes May look better. They are mostly by his coaching. But that's a sign of an elite coach where, for example, Mourinho, when he came to Chelsea, there were several players that when they left the club, they weren't playing at the same level again because those type of managers give that drive and motivation where you literally run through a brick wall for them. So it comes from the manager. And we're very lucky to have a special manager like Klopp. Because God knows, if he wasn't at the club right now, who knows what we'd be going through. We'd probably be going through what Arsenal fans are, which I will elaborate later on in the show. But back to the Liverpool game itself. So the second goal for me was a delight. Lovely long pass by Van Dijk, which is probably his trademark there, to Harvey Elliott, who produced a great chest control and a pass to Trent. And Trent did a lovely little dink through ball to Mane, and then bang, Mane scores his first goal of the season with a half volley. Really hope this gives Mane the confidence to go on and produce some great form and that we've been used to seeing over the years. I know a lot of fans have written him off already because he had a relatively bad season for his standards last year. I still have faith in Mane. I still feel like last season was just one of those seasons where different circumstances, wasn't able to get his rhythm, probably overplayed as well due to our squad numbers. But he's still a top player. I think he'll show his true quality again this season, like many other players in the squad, in my opinion. So don't give up hope on Mane. That would be my message regarding that. Mike Dean, don't really like talking about referees, but had a decent game. But there was that one moment where I think it was Goodmanson pretty much suplexed Jota, and there was no foul, no yellow card awarded. I know Klopp mentioned it afterwards as well, but I feel like those type of challenges, it's just like, it's not a football challenge, is it? So, bit of a joke. Probably Klopp went a bit, into more depth, and then people just thinking he's having a bit of a moan. But yeah, there was a lot of moments where I feel like, especially after the 70th minute, I feel like Burnley sort of lost their head, and then lost a bit of gas as well, and pretty much just started becoming more physical in their challenges. So no surprise there, as that is a trait of a Burnley team. But regardless, I feel like Liverpool are fantastic. I feel like there's so many players that I can speak about in terms of their performances. Everyone had a great game, but for me, the stand-up player was Henderson. I think he was fantastic, showed his great passing range throughout the game, and was the difference in midfield. Harvey Elliott, who I was elaborating on earlier on, another player who stood out for me. He really shined. He's our little gem right now. So, yeah, so confident on the ball, dribbles with no fear whatsoever. Lovely to see from such a young player. I still see his future to be more as a right winger, but to have that versatility in your game, it's only going to be good for his own development and for the team as well. But overall, great game for Liverpool, great points. Burnley, they were outplayed. I just found it funny that, or shall I say, I find it ironic that Sean Dyche was complaining about his side not receiving a sort of a soft penalty appeal where Trent Alexander-Arnold pretty much barged off McNeil off the ball. And considering his team were over physical as well, it's just like, come on, behave. Your team, that is your tactics, to be over physical with the opposition. And a few nudges here and there, and you're complaining that you should have got a penalty. And you conceded a soft goal with Liverpool. It's just, there's these type of managers, they always have an agenda with Liverpool. They just can't take it. But nevertheless, great win for Liverpool. Fantastic for fans to actually be at the stadium. I wasn't there. I plan to be at Anfield, hopefully in the next few months. It looked like such a great atmosphere. So hopefully I can be part of that very soon as well. On to the next game is Man City versus Norwich, which was a pretty much 5-star performance from the team. So they were definitely back with a bang after their defeat last week against Tottenham. The scoreline started pretty much with an own goal, but it was a great chest and cross by Jesus, who was a constant threat throughout the game. Especially he was attacking the right channel quite a lot throughout the game. So for me, he was fantastic. The second goal itself, Jesus again, constant threat, produced a fizz cross that pretty much hit Grealish rather than Grealish making a pure contact with the ball. But nevertheless, his first goal of the season and his first goal in his home debut. So good start for the new signing there. Third goal, Gundogan produced the corner, and Laporte finished it off from close range after they pretty much rebounded off a couple Norwich defenders there. Fourth goal, lovely through ball by Walker to Jesus. He pretty much squared it to Sterling and scored from point blank range. And finally, Mahrez capped off the win with a nice late finish later in the game. So a comfortable win for City, who are now raring to go, in my opinion. It's funny because they lost last week. People were giving them, a bit of doubts that, maybe they won't do well, or they really need a striker that they might be lacking in terms of their performance this year. It's just one game. You can't be that reactive after one performance. So we've still got a week in the transfer window. Who knows what's going to happen? Rumors of Cristiano Ronaldo joining Man City. Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't see that happening whatsoever. At this late stage of the window as well, it's very difficult to kind of cement those type of deals. But more importantly, I can't see him joining City where, he's beloved by the Man United fans. So, yeah, non-star. I still think Kane is the one that they'll try and get. Will he sign for the club? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of Manchester United, they had a fantastic performance last week against Leeds United, winning 5-1. this week wasn't so great. But before the match even started, I was pretty surprised by their starting lineup. To play Pogba on the left, where he was so successful last week, playing as a number 8. Greenwood on the right, to accommodate Martial, for me was just bizarre. I felt like Greenwood was fantastic last week, leading the line. And that is his natural position. He's a striker. So I'm a Liverpool fan, as you guys know. But if I was a Manchester United fan, this would be one of the reasons why I wouldn't have faith in Ole. And this is why I've gone on record and said I don't believe he's an elite manager, because he likes to tinker the team when it's not needed. At this stage, last week, what a fantastic performance they had. It should have been continued on similar teams, similar setup. But no, he's changed it around here and there. So, especially for Greenwood, I feel a bit sorry for him, because I feel like he had such a great performance. And for him to be shifted to another position for Martial, who for me in this game was not present, didn't really do much. If I'm brutally honest, still surprised he's actually a Manchester United player. Ever since he signed the club, I don't feel like he's developed at all. And his development has sort of stagnated. So quite surprised that he's still at the club, to be honest with you. Just got another comment from Stu Mac. Harry Maguire is beautiful courtesy. You never see this to amaze me. Yeah. I saw the images for that. It looks like he was doing a protest for Black Lives Matter there before during the game. So yeah, that was quite funny there. And Stu Mac agrees with me in regards to agreement. He's England's brightest prospect, and for Manchester United, in my opinion. I saw Gary Neville last night on Monday Night Football speaking heavily about Manchester United splashing the cash, 160 million on Harry Kane, like, blowing money that's really going to answer the problems at the club. They need a midfielder. I'm an outsider. Obviously, I know my football, but it's quite obvious that is a position that they need to improve on. To say they need Harry Kane at this stage, look, you've got a young striker there. He's pretty much ready-made. All he needs is a chance to lead that line, get consecutive games. I feel like he would be fantastic. He'll be a great success for this United team. Ole, I don't know if he has that kind of faith in him. But if I was a United manager, I would not put too much pressure on him, but I would give him the chance to lead that line. You've got an experienced striker in Cavani who can come in and out of the team whenever, but give the young kid a chance, because he's got some great talent there. For me, he's a natural goal scorer. He pretty much scores half chances, which you don't really see for a player at that age doing that much. So, yeah, it's a tricky one for me. I still despise United, though. One of the few Scots who can't be arsed with Fergie. I respect him, but I certainly don't admire him. That's a fair point. I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans will have the same opinion regarding that as well. Back to the game itself. So, Southampton opened the scoreline. Great tackle by Stevens on Fernandes. For me, never foul in a million years. I don't care what anyone says. Nice flick by Armstrong to Adams, who produced a nice low left-footed finish. Fantastic goal, fantastic start for Southampton. And then the equaliser itself, Pogba played a hand for this goal, dribbled into the box, just about stretched the pass onto Greenwood, who hits the back of the net. Even though he was playing out wide, he managed to find a good position centrally and score the goal. So just shows me that he has that killer instinct as well. Another comment here from Stu Mac. Greenwood more mobile and more big time than Harry. Bullying Brighton, Burnley, Panama, and San Marino isn't elite. Yeah, you're not far off that, to be honest. For me, Greenwood is my type of striker. You pretty much mentioned it, more mobile, but left foot, right foot, could literally finish and do different types of goal. As a Liverpool fan, he reminds me of Daniel Sturridge, the way he plays. Has that flair about his play as well. Can attack the channels really well, which is probably sort of a disadvantage at this stage of his career, because he's so quick and so agile. The coach right now believes he's probably more useful on the wings. Whereas, that's how Sturridge's career was at Chelsea. And once he joined Liverpool, we played him centrally. And look at his record. He was fantastic for us. So I see similar sort of links between the two players. So fingers crossed for his own development that he does get his chance. Obviously, I'm not wishing success on United, but as a player itself, I have to be honest, I'm a fan of his. I think he's a great talent. But back to this game. So points dropped. But having said that, I don't think there's any need to panic. I know I've seen online United fans are screaming for midfielder. I've seen a couple of reports today linking the club with Saul Niguez and Camavinga to the club. At this stage, from what I've read, Chelsea look like they're closing in on Saul Niguez on a loan move. And I think Camavinga looks destined to sign for PSG, who for me, who just can't stop signing players. They need to give everyone else a chance, give Liverpool a chance, to sign someone, because God knows how many players we're going to get in before the end of the window. But yeah, in regards to midfield, that has been their weak area for a long time. But it's not about finding any sort of random midfielder. It has to be the right type. For me, they need a defensive midfielder who's the destroyer of sort of the opposition's attack, but at the same time can play as well. So those players aren't easy to find, but I think that will be the cog to their success in the future. Not too much success, obviously, but yeah, as a neutral, I feel like that is the area they need to improve. So we'll see how it goes. We've got just under a week until, next Tuesday actually finishes. So we've got one more week until the end of the transfer window. In regards to Southampton, great point. They produced a great performance there, did really well. I was really impressed with Livramento. Can't believe he's 18 years old. Looks like a great signing for Southampton. Top recruitment there. Armstrong showed a glimpse of his quality there. A very busy type of striker, pressed really well. I can see him scoring a lot of goals this season. So a big act to follow in regards to Danny Ings, who departed the club to join Aston Villa. But I think they've from what I can see, it looks like he's a good sort of replacement for them. So on to the next game. Arsenal and Chelsea. So London derby here. Let's just go straight to the point regarding the star man, Lukaku. He was fantastic in this game. Produced a complete performance and showed how much he's improved as a player. I've watched him in Serie A for Inter Milan, so I know how much he's improved, but I feel like people are still picturing the raw player that played for Everton, West Brom, but also at Manchester United, where he was ridiculed for his first touch and link-up play. But look at the first goal. Great hold-up play by Lukaku, who linked up really well with Kovacic, who threads a nice through ball to Reece James, and his pinpoint pass to Lukaku helps him open his account for Chelsea. I didn't realize that Lukaku has never scored a goal for Chelsea. I thought he would have scored maybe 1 or 2 goals in his previous spell, but I think that's probably the reason why he's returned to Premier League and why he's returned to Chelsea. So a special moment for Lukaku there. The second goal, nice through ball from Mount to Reece James, who lashed it top corner. What a goal it was. James was fantastic throughout the game. For me, he's really flourishing in that wing-back role, and it really suits his capabilities. So, interesting role in terms of how he's playing for the team there. Arsenal, 2 defeats on the bounce. I'll be honest, I thought Arsenal might have got a point or something out of the game, as they tend to have a great record against Chelsea. Arsenal fans, obviously, it is worrying times. It's not a great start to your season, but I wouldn't say it's time to sack your manager straight away. Time is ticking. I'll be honest with you. If improvements aren't made within the squad in terms of the way they play, not recruitment, because I think they've spent heavily, but I don't know how much influence Arteta has had in those signings. So on paper, the players seem like good signings. So it might just be a thing where these players are signed for the next manager rather than Arteta. That's just how I'm seeing it at this stage. Because for me, I don't feel like Arteta is built for this job. I think he's way out of his depth. He's had too many falling outs with so many players within the squad. He's loaned out top talent like Saliba, even Guendouzi, who showed some good promising form when he was at the club. some decisions like that have really backfired. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult season for Arsenal and Arteta. Me personally, I don't see him lasting until December. That will probably be the time where they'll make the change depending on where they are in the league. I think Arsenal fans will probably co-sign that in terms of what I've just said. Just got another comment here. Arsenal are awful. They were awful. Let's be honest. Not a great performance from them. For me, they just didn't turn up. Didn't show any fight whatsoever. So, as an Arsenal fan, last week they were outplayed, outmuscled, outfought by Brentford, who were just, as you can tell, they were just excited to be back in the Premier League after such a long time. So they showed great energy throughout the game. So maybe wouldn't say, you allow Arsenal to have that in that regards, but maybe they were surprised by the level of performance there. But this is against Chelsea. You don't need much motivation against this type of oppositions. And for me, the level of performance didn't improve whatsoever. So a lot of work for Arsenal, unfortunately, there. And the last game I'll review in Matchweek 2 is West Ham versus Leicester City. So 4-1 result, I'll be brutally honest, pretty surprised by this result. I didn't see this coming. I thought Leicester might have nicked the win there, or both of them would have shared some points there. But West Ham literally hammered their opponents, and Antonio was the star of the show. Not quite sure about his celebration, bit of a funny one there, but he has now become the club's top scorer of all time. What an achievement. And for me, he deserves all the praise that he gets, because I don't know if you know, in terms of the last few years, he started as a utility player, pretty much played every position, predominantly played fullback, played as a winger. Now he holds the number 9 shirt, so he's found his place in the team, and I feel like he's so effective in his role. And speaking of another player who's found their place in the team, for me, Ben Rama. So a player that I've really rated for quite a while, especially during his days in Brentford, is showing his great form and showing glimpses of his true talent. So this was reflective in this game, as he was very impressive for me. He provided the assist for Fornals, who scored the opening goal in this game. The turning point, obviously, was the red card from Ayuso Perez's awful tackle. And I think it was the right decision in terms of giving him the red card there. Antonio becomes provider, assisting Ben Rama with a nice ball and a simple finish for the Algerian winger there. Tielemans manages to grab a goal for Leicester City, but the moment arrived for Antonio where he scored and made history by breaking the West Ham record. So great moment for him and his family there and for the club. Antonio manages to get another goal a few minutes later. Great reaction after a first heavy touch. It probably looks better when you see it on the replay, like he meant it. But I feel like I didn't think he was expecting that type of bounce. But nevertheless, the reaction was great, and Schmeichel pretty much didn't realize that he was going to do a low shot. So great start for West Ham. Leading the table right now as well. So yeah, great start. Obviously, the season's long, so it'll be interesting to see how their season goes once they start playing European football. That pretty much wraps up our review of Matchweek 2. But as I like to do every week, I like to do my team of the week. So let me just get rid of this banner for you guys. So this is my team of the week that I have. So if you're new to the show, whenever I do the starting lineups, if there is a captain armband on a player, they're not the captain of the team. They, for me, are the star player of the week. So in this regard, it's Lukaku. So let's work our way from the goalkeeper position up to the attackers. So Raya, for me, was pretty much the star goalkeeper of the week. This game, I feel like both goalkeepers, Guaita as well, had made some number of saves. Raya actually impressed me last week against Arsenal as well. The last 10 minutes really helped Brentford maintain their lead, and then they were able to get another goal at the latter stages. Looks like a solid goalkeeper. Good in terms of possession, aerial ability as well when it comes to corners. Good shot stopper. So very impressed in terms of how he's performed so far. And I feel like it's only right that he is in my team of the week. And my back three, which will be a constant theme throughout. So I like to try and get more midfielders and attackers in my starting lineup there. Livramento, I know he doesn't play on the left-hand side, but I had to fit him somewhere because I was so impressed with his performance. So on his pretty much debut in the season as well, showed no fear, attacked the right-hand side really well, and for me was one of the star performers for Southampton. So that's why I've got him there. Duffy as well, great performance from him. And also scored a goal for his side, who won against Watford. So that's why he's in the lineup as well. Alexander-Arnold, complete performance from him. Really impressed with how he played. Obviously provided an assist for Mane, but was fantastic throughout. So that's why he's in my team there. As I mentioned earlier, Ben Rama, been really impressed with him. Scored a goal in the fixture yesterday and was fantastic last week. So for me, that's why he's there. Henderson, what a complete performance. Fantastic. Shows why we miss him when he's not around in certain games. He dictated play really well, played the right passes at the right time, used his experience to the best of his ability. So really impressed with his performance. Dele Alli, another resurgence under a new manager. Looks a different player from last season. I'm laughing because I know there's a talent there, but for some reason the managers can't keep to get him to play consistently, or he'll have a good purple patch and then all of a sudden he's just nowhere to be seen. So for his sake, and I feel like he's such a great talent, he goes on to have a solid season for his own development and gets back into England setup again, as he hasn't played there for quite a while. But had a good performance against Wolves and scored the winning penalty there as well. Reece James, fantastic performance from him in that wing-back role. Provided assist and also scored on I think it was in the second half. Fantastic hit, top corner. So that's why he's there. Antonio, pretty much titled my episode around him, so he has to be in the lineup there. So he's had a fantastic match week for personal reasons, but also his team's won and they're top of the league now. Lukaku, what a performance from him. Excited to see how he does later on in the season. But yeah, he's a game changer for me, definitely. And will change the fortunes of Chelsea season. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, Ings scored a fantastic bicycle scissor kick, whatever you want to call it. Great goal, great finish. And it helped Aston Villa get their win as well. So that's why he's in my starting lineup there. So let me know what you guys think. You can drop a comment below. I will post this on my social media account on Instagram at ozzie.ftp. Let me know. I do get comments where people don't agree with my lineup there, but I'm intrigued to see what you guys think. So before we end the show, I like to preview Matchweek 3. Let me just get rid of this artwork here. So the big game next week will be Man City versus Arsenal. So that'll be I think the midday kickoff on Saturday. I know Arsenal fans aren't looking forward to this fixture. As a neutral, obviously, we want to see the big teams play each other, but yes, I'm trying to think of positive words for Arsenal. It's not looking good, if I'm brutally honest. I can see this being a high score, and I can see it being a 4-0. If I'm honest with you, it's at home as well, at Man City Stadium. So, yeah, hopefully I'm wrong for Arsenal fans there, but I don't see anything other than a Man City win there. Another game, obviously I'm looking forward to it, is Liverpool versus Chelsea. So the big talking point is Van Dijk against Lukaku. How's he going to handle it? I'm pretty confident going into this match, if I'm honest with you. I feel like the way we've played in the first two games, we've done it with such ease as well. We looked really comfortable. I don't feel like we've been troubled by our opposition. Obviously, respectively, is Norwich and Burnley. But these are the type of teams that we used to struggle in previous seasons, especially Burnley, because they play such different tactics, more physical based in terms of how they attack or how they defend against our players. So I'm confident about this. I can see a Liverpool win. I plan to do a match preview on Thursday, so I will elaborate more in terms of my starting lineup that I feel like will start, score predictions, and overall results. So yeah, so look out for that later on this week. Also, if you haven't joined our fantasy, I still believe you can join the league. So if you already got a team, the code is scrolling below as you can see. So CG4602. So if you'd like to join the Football Talk Podcast Fantasy League, feel free to join. And I believe our manager of the week for FPL is someone called Santi Boy, who scored 89 points, which is fantastic. I believe I got 63 points, so not as great as you, obviously, but well done regarding your points there. Interesting. So the last selections that I did, as I didn't get many points. I think everyone got high points in their first week, so we'll see how the season goes. Some bargains that are up for grabs. Just got a thumbs up here from Bishop Boys. Thank you very much, guys. But yeah, that wraps up for today. So if you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. So you can follow me at OzzieFTP on Twitter or Ozzie.ftp on Instagram. And you can check our website, footballtalkpodcast.com, where it has all of our links. So it has links to our YouTube channel, plus our social and all of our podcast platforms as well. So all of our episodes you can listen to it on the go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So do look out for that, especially if you're on your way to work or you're in the car. You can listen to my episodes as you're on the go. So a bit of content there for you guys. Next episode, as I mentioned earlier on, will be Thursday, so a couple of days' time, 26th of August at 10 p.m., where I'll be doing my match preview of Liverpool versus Chelsea. So Liverpool fans, please join the show. Share your comments as well in terms of my predicted lineup and who I feel like will be important in terms of the way we play, and the opposition as well. I'll be analysing the Chelsea team. So exciting game ahead. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. And I shall see you all very soon. Take care.